What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you, but I want a future as bright as David Eason's lucky court star, because let me tell you, this man has yet again evaded jail time. Yes, his charges have been dropped. A little bit earlier on in the summer, or let me say in the spring, Jenelle Evans was trying to leave David for the millionth time, and so she had called up her friends to help her pack her bags and leave the house. And so what happened was that David got into a physical altercation with her friend James. James allegedly was trying to defend himself against David, who had pistol whipped him, allegedly, and put a coat rack in between the two of them so that David would not be able to continue to physically assault him. And so once Jenelle and all of her friends got free from David and the swamp, they headed over to the magistrate to file charges against him for assault. And guess what David did after that? He went to the magistrate to file his very own charges against James, claiming that he was acting in self-defense and that it was James who charged at him with a coat rack to attack him. Well, according to the Ashley's Reality Roundup, the two of them wound up reaching a truce and decided to drop the charges against each other. They were both facing assault with deadly weapons charges, and I believe David was also charged with uttering deadly threats, and so the two of them decided to just drop the charges against one another, and they've also informally agreed to cease all contact with each other. So there's no official restraining order, no contact order or anything like that, but that's just something that the two of them did informally come to an agreement upon, which is not very surprising because James has also stopped talking to Jenelle as well ever since she went back to David. Honestly, you guys, this situation makes me so incredibly sad for Jenelle's friends, and it just kind of further enforces why people have a hard time helping domestic violence victims. Of course it's something that should be done and people morally want to do it, but it's just, and I hate to say it, but it comes across as so fruitless or pointless and dangerous for you personally as well. Because look, this is a guy who was Jenelle's friend. She runs to him and says, listen, my husband abuses me and my kids. I need help getting out. So what does he do as a good friend? He helps this woman. He goes to her home where her husband, who scares even the police department to the point where, remember in the Nugget saga, they refuse to go over there. They're like, he's got all these signs on the door that says do not enter or he'll shoot. We don't want to, it was crazy. And so he goes there to help her. And, David comes, he allegedly assaults this man with a pistol by pistol whipping him. And he only tries to defend himself. And what happens? Somehow, some way, David is allowed to file bogus charges against him. So now he's got this on his record. He's got bruising on his face from the pistol whipping that David gave him as well. And what does he have to show for it? Not even a friendship with Jenelle Eason. Not even appreciation from Jenelle. Nothing. The two of them don't even talk anymore because Jenelle decided to go back to David for the millionth time and cease all communications with this man who now has to live with all of the mess that he has to deal with just because he tried to help his friend who is a victim of domestic violence. You know what I mean? How many stories like this do you hear of people trying to help women like Jenelle only to end up with the short end of the stick? I remember I've read some stories of maybe on the Tube in London, there was a woman who was fighting with her boyfriend who had allegedly been abusive for a really long time. He slaps her. This man gets in between the two of them. The man beats that guy into a coma. You hear about this in the US where guns are involved, where someone's trying to end a domestic violence dispute. Guess what happens? He gets shot up. Guess what happens to the women? They're still with these men. It is such a psychological issue. It truly is. I'm not even trying to say don't help domestic violence victims. No, it's just, it is such a, there's nothing a regular friend or a regular person, it seems can do to help these people. They cannot leave these relationships until they are mentally and emotionally ready to walk away themselves. And that's what makes it so hard, just seeing the level of a psychological hold men like David have on women like Jenelle is heartbreaking. Really, I am just choked up thinking about it. It's not even about Jenelle at this point. It's about millions of women in her position. She is not atypical. A lot of people like to go, in my comments whenever I make videos about like, the saga that she's going through with David and talk about how, she's XYZ, but like, it's not even just Jenelle. She is an avatar for millions of women in these situations. You don't just leave an abusive partner after the first time, the second time, the third time. If you do, you are an anomaly. You are a miracle. Congratulations to you. More power to you. But you are not the norm. It takes at least 7 attempts for someone to try to leave a situation like this, So what Jenelle's going through is perfectly normal, and that is what makes it so sad, you guys. It truly is. I don't even know what to say at this point. It makes me really sad even that David had the opportunity to go and file bogus counter charges against this guy. That is, to me, the only reason why he is able to walk free at this point, because the guy's like, listen, I don't have the money, probably is the issue. I don't have the money to like go back and forth and fight this. I don't want this on my record. So let's just drop these things against each other, even though David did allegedly pistol whip this guy, and threaten him and like everybody else that was there that day. But, it comes down to a money thing. It comes down to, people being working class or middle class or whatever. They need to have clean records for their jobs. Like, is it worth it going through all of this to defend Jenelle Evans? No. It doesn't seem like it anymore for this guy, because look what he has to show for it. Literally nothing, and she just goes around talking poorly about him, claiming that he was using her for fame, when all he did was try to help her. You guys, what do you think about this situation? The fact that David Eason is truly a cat with 9 lives here. Like yet again, beating another charge. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Actually, before I get into that part, at least, we have a little bit of solace in knowing that David did not come out victorious in his court case against Terry. Remember, Terry was the man, the disabled man who was in his 70s, whose car David illegally towed. So David did not show up to court for that because he was already in court for another charge in the next state over. So Terry won by default on that. So at the very least, we can hope to see a really strong judgment come out against David there. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.